The power of the dark side.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Mad Dad channel, and we are going to be talking about all the new updates that are coming. And, well, we had a lot of information drop recently. We have super special guests tonight. Normally, it's just me and Kirill shooting back and forth in a lame way, but again, super special guests. So, of course, returning guest, Kirill. He doesn't count, though. We don't care about him. The man, the myth, the legend. Wait, that's how I normally introduce people. How do I introduce somebody with the name, the legend?
No introduction needed, man.
Yeah. We have Legend joining us today. He is from FTB. It's the guild that we are in, and he is a high-ranking person in the Alliance. So you'll probably hear his name dropped every once in a while. And then also we have an officer from our guild, Fosden. He recently achieved the rank of officer, and super great guy, super knowledgeable, and he's in charge of territory wars in our guild, in FTB Dog specifically. We have Fosden joining us.
Hey guys, yeah, thanks for the introduction. Yeah, I guess I classify myself as middle management, if anything else. But yeah, hoping not to mess up our territory wars record.
You better not.
Happy real meaning of FTB, fear the boot.
And then last, but certainly not least, and his video just cut out, so we're gonna work with it. We have
gotta love Windows.
Windows update. Stop!
No, don't do it.
We have a game changer for you guys. He is back. All right, so we have a game changer for you guys. And if this is coming out on Miss Channel, obviously you guys already know him. You love him. You subscribe to him. You're seeing his content. It's Miss Passier.
How's it going, guys?
I build you up, and you're like, hey.
Hey. Yeah. Well, at least he said something after you introduced him. I was just like, hi. Yeah.
No, this is awesome. I always enjoy the conversation. It's good times.
Five guys, we're all gathered around, and we're all talking about the game that we love. Hey, yeah, it is. But we're all gathered around because we want to talk about Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, and so we're going to go ahead and talk about the most recent updates because, well, let's face it, there wasn't one of us that wasn't like, oh my god! Like, I can tell you for the last 4 or 5 days that that the Game Changers went to Sacramento, I was hitting refresh on my YouTube every 5 minutes. I'm not gonna lie.
Yep. Yeah. It was really cool because they dropped all of it. It was time release today. And literally I was at work, and this is an exaggeration. Like Chris, caps locked me in Facebook. He's like, it's here, the news is here. And so we got the news. Really cool.
And by Chris, he means Mad Dad. He's super...
Yeah, Mad Dad. Yeah. So it was great because now there's continuing the KOTOR realm. So obviously everybody kind of knew Lord of Pain was coming. Everybody kind of knew it. Lord of Pain 1. But it was confirmed today that we are getting Darth Sion. And he is everything that we thought he would be too, because his lore is neat too, because he's so pissed off that he won't die. Like, that's some major rage, man. So
fair enough. Didn't really... But before we get into Darth Sion,
let's do that. Yeah.
Let's go ahead. Kirill, why don't you start off your talking points on who is it?
This is Visas Marr. And if you guys are KOTOR 2 players, which, yeah, we all probably were KOTOR 2 players, she was the hot chick that was already blindfolded, so you didn't have to put a blindfold on her. So she was already prepared. It was great. Come on, everybody thought it. Come on, don't pretend. Yeah, those.
It's a face palm.
She sees the inner beauty.
Yeah, she was already prepared. But yeah, no. So it was really interesting because I didn't see her coming. I mean, that was a really interesting twist. Mm-hmm. Yeah, God, you're so juvenile. So that was really neat, and it just goes to show that what they recently said that with the EA has been given permission by Disney to use legendary. They're considering KOTOR legendary content, and they're getting free license to use it.
Well, they always considered KOTOR legend or legends material, but recently it was found out that Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes is also considered under the Legends license. They don't have to coattail to the what is the current mythos canon.
Yeah. Actually, fun fact about that, there was a lot of healthy debate, I'll say, on the forums about like why Ahsoka has any kind of Night Sister association, whether or not it was official, if she and Ventress in the animated Clone Wars show had any, relationship like that. And, the forums were all anticipating this stuff, and a few people had hypothesized about Visas Mar finally making an appearance with more of KOTOR time era being more relevant in the game.
Yeah, no, it was just super cool, and it just goes to show they're gonna go all in on it, because I think honestly, of all the prepackaged Star Wars themes, KOTOR's got to be definitely some of the best era, some of the best cool lore stuff. I mean, they made comic books out of it. They made basically every Star Wars novel that you've read. I mean, if you've read the Star Wars novels, like 75% of them are from the KOTOR, are from that era. So, I mean, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I keep on saying it like everybody knows what it is. But yeah, they have a huge pool that they're going to grab from, and they showed it by picking her. Some of the cool skills. Let's go over the skills if you want to go over skills.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, the kit. Not just her sexy blinders, but anyway, the kit. So one of the, just in layman terms, break it down. She does a basic physical damage. When she does damage, it dispels on the lowest health. It'll dispel debuff on that person, and it'll dispel debuff on her. So you're getting 2 debuffs out of a basic.
It debuffs.
A self debuff is. Go ahead.
It cleanses debuffs on herself and a random debuffed ally.
Is it random?
Yes. And if the target, I can read the ability to you.
Go ahead.
To. It deals physical damage to a target enemy and dispel all debuffs on Visas and another random debuffed ally. If the target is Sith, then Visas Mar and her lowest health ally also recover 25% max health. If any debuffs were dispelled, reduce the cooldown of dark healing by 1.
Yeah, and that's where I was getting the lowest healed. Right. Yep. So yeah, that's really neat, having a self cleanse on your basic, and it leads into a lot of her other package. I guess if we want to transition nicely, we can transition to the dark healing.
Or do you want to? That's good, but let's go ahead and unpack the basic. I mean, let's start it out. Mist, why don't you go ahead and take the charge on this one? What do you think of the basic?
It's like Barriss on steroids. It's like Barriss Offie's Unique, where at the end of her turn she removes the negative status effects on the lowest health ally. Kind of similar, not really just reducing the negative or removing the negative status effects on her lowest health ally. In fact, instead she heals them, but she still removes debuffs on another random debuffed ally, which is pretty cool. To me, this is kind of like rolling Barriss Offie's Unique and Barriss Offie's Basic, which has a chance to heal, into one. I think it's freaking ridiculous.
Well, with some caveat. I mean, yeah.
Right, right. You have to
you
have to target a Sith to get the healing effect. But I think
there's something really neat about this because this character is being put in as an offset to this Sith charge, right? Like, so
they're trying to keep the scales balanced.
Yes,
totally,
absolutely.
You nailed it on the head.
Which I gotta slow clap them because I mean that's some really good design. I mean that is it's kind of eliminating the need to go back and kind of scale back characters because if their faction gets too large, whatever. Instead of having to run that risk, they're already preemptively enabling it so that they can have an offset in the game for it. Which I mean, like I said, that's just great design. I love it.
Absolutely. Legend, what's your take on it, brother?
Literally, Barriss Offee on steroids is exactly how I would have described that. And you're talking about keeping the balance, and man, that's been my biggest gripe about this game for a long time. Is there's never been a balance. It's either all in one way or all in the other way. So
CLS.
I hope that trend continues. And I mean, it just continues to if they're ramping up Sith, they're keeping rebels, and either way, Jedi's kind of equal. Jedi rework.
Hashtag what we want. Faustin, what's your take on it, brother?
So I had some initial thoughts, and I won't go on for too long, but I'm glad you brought up Barriss, because my initial thing was, is she a replacement for Barriss, or would she work well with Barriss, maybe even with General Kenobi? Having that much dispelling going around, I think it's a direct counter to how Sion is going to be, well, and we'll talk more about that later, but applying so many debuffs in a general sense. In a weird way, it kind of seems like a reverse function of Nihilus's unique, where he's randomly applying a debuff to enemies that don't already have it. So if she's randomly dispelling from allies that do have debuffs, I think it's going to, like Legend said, keep a balance in check.
Right.
Yep.
And keep her basic in mind when we get further down the list.
Yep. There's a cool transition to that kit. Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't think that I have anything to add that hasn't already been said.
Okay.
To be, you're like, wait, I was ready to move on.
No, I forgot the host of the show might have an opinion.
I don't have opinions. But no, I don't have anything to really add on it. I think that everything has really been touched on, and I think that everybody had a valid point there. Does she replace Barriss? And apparently there's an R2 going wild somewhere. Legend, that was you.
That's so great.
That was Legend. And for all of our earphone users, you guys just went deaf. And I'm sorry. But you can't even hear me saying sorry because you're deaf now. So let's go ahead and transition from there. Kirill,
sure.
What's your take?
Well, I'm going to follow up on Mislead and actually read from the site. So that was like a really good plan. So the
reading stuffs.
Yeah, reading is great. So we're going to go into the ability that was affected by the basic, and that's Dark Healing. So the final text on Dark Healing says, it's going to deal physical damage to all enemies, so it's an AoE attack. All allies gain health still up, so that's a offshoot of Emperor Palpatine, for 1 turn, and recover health equal to 35% of Visas Mar's max health. If Visas Mar is at full health after using this ability, revive a random defeated ally at 50% health. Cooldown starts at 8. So, and I guess I'll go into what I think about the ability. So this, let's be honest, it's not a real hard hitting heal. It's not going to be a Barriss heal. It's not going to be, you're probably going to get up to like 8-9K heal, which I mean it's okay, but the great thing about it is that it's kind of a tempo shift, right? So it's like one of those, like it's a trap with Admiral Akbar, right? So you just like wipe out all your debuffs, you reset the board. It's going to deal the damage, heal yourself up. What I don't know. I'm trying to think about it. It's
Dude,
not
50% revive.
Well, I was saving that for the cherry. I'm still worried about the heal not being enough. I just don't feel like if you're going to give her the healer tag, it's not enough. But you're absolutely right.
She's an offensive healer, so I see her heal as more of a Luminara style here.
Exactly where I was going.
Where it's not meant to really be a massive heal, but it leaves her allies with supplemental healing effects. So that's where you get the health steal up.
Right.
So I think that's where they're kind of trying to meld her in. I feel like they're taking her kit and making it like a blend of taking some stylistic elements from Barisafi, some stylistic elements from Luminara, and kind of creating this. And then also, I mean, you've also got like some kind of Night Sister elements here going on with old Daka, having the ability to heal or revive an ally. So it's kind of like this, they're taking a mishmash of like the three most powerful healers on the light and dark side of the game, and like creating this anti-Sith monster. Yeah. Keep going.
Well,
Sorry.
Well, no, you're great, because I think the revive is actually the best part. I mean, the healing is just kind of like an afterthought. Like you said, it's a supplemental. The revive is just because you're going to be able to we're leading up into this, but she's going to assist a lot if she's fighting Sith. This is going to be on pretty much like 2 to 3 turn cooldown, and if you're reviving an ally at 50% health every 2 to 3 cooldowns, what if you're reviving old Ben? Yeah. What if you're reviving, like it gets pretty stupid.
I can see
I think that's a great talking point right there. Is that if your only target is somebody that you want to bring back, like old Ben, it could be disgusting.
Yeah, there's some hidden gems to this kit that might not come out till a little bit later, but yeah, it's going to be really fast to build to reduce that cooldown. So that's going to be great.
Couldn't agree anymore. So let's go ahead and let's throw it over to Faustin first. Faustin, what's your takeaway on that?
Sorry, I realized I was interrupting for a minute. I could see that benefiting really well, like you mentioned with old Ben, also with maybe like Zeta R2, depending on the other team members. I'm having some difficulty finding online. Does Visas have a Jedi tag, or is it just?
We're gonna dive into that in a little bit. Curiel has kind of like he's saving that, but cool. Definitely
that's all I had to contribute.
She has a what is it, Curiel? Is it a healer?
So literally, her only description right now in the game is light side, healer. They've got to put in another tag, and I'm assuming it's going to be Jedi.
So then that opens up another question at Mist. Mist, do you know if she's going to get any other tags, or is this the final product that we're seeing?
From what I understand, she does not have a Jedi tag. From what I understand.
Which is, not unheard of. It's, right. Ahsoka Fulcrum doesn't have a Jedi tag either.
Right. And if you think about it, once you've left the Jedi Order, it's not just a simple matter of getting you're light side again. Now you're back in the Jedi Order. No, it's like
the Gray Jedi is what you're referring to.
Yeah. So Visas was Nihilus's apprentice. Being redeemed and turning to the light side doesn't automatically make her a Jedi. She is a light side Force user.
What is the technical term for that? Like, I think, like, I looked it up, and I think it's a dark Sith, isn't it? Because I
couldn't.
think that like when the Jedi Order, like if you were a part of the Jedi Order and you left the Jedi Order, then you became a gray Jedi. But if you left the Sith,
they called it. I think they also referred to it as fallen Jedi.
Fair enough. I mean, we're so far
splitting
off.
hairs now. Splitting hairs.
Yeah. We're all hipsters about it. We're like pushing up our glasses and but Foss,
if she's not Jedi, ahead. What is she gonna be?
She's gonna be a light side healer.
I mean,
healer.
So won't belong to any faction.
I could fathom her getting a Galactic Republic tag. You know, it's during that era. If she's joining, you know, canonically speaking, with Meetra Surik, you know, he or she, canonically speaking, was officially associated with them. No.
But the Galactic Republic that they refer to with the current Galactic Republic tag in game refers to the Clone Wars era Galactic Republic, not the Old Republic Galactic Republic. It's
we're talking interesting.
Holy
time
nerd.
eras.
No, that's a really good
Star
point.
Wars now, and so because the current Galactic Republic in Galaxy of Heroes now it's just getting ridiculous. Because now it's like now we have. I mean, because when you think about it, you kind of have different era characters in the game already. Like you have Clone Wars Chewbacca. Why we can go off on a tangent about that later some other time. But anyway, so you have the Clone Wars era, and that's where you have all the Clone Wars Jedi. So all the Jedi and all the characters that they pulled out of the Clone Wars TV show. So Plo Koon, Amagundai, Luminara, Barriss, etc., etc. You got all those characters that they pulled from the Galactic Republic era inside the Clone Wars. So when we're talking about the Old Republic, for anybody who's not familiar with the Old Republic lore, we're talking about on an actual timeline, if you're talking about the timeline of Star Wars, from the Battle of Yavin, which is what many Star Wars websites refer to as year zero. So when the original Death Star was destroyed, you call that like the main call it year zero. Yeah, year zero in Star Wars.
Think about it like in the real world, like BC AD.
Right. So the Old Republic, which is where you have Nihilus, Traya, Scion, and all of those, we're talking like 3,500 to 3,800 years before the Battle of Yavin. Whereas the events of the Clone Wars, you know, episodes 1, 2, and 3, the Clone Wars TV show, all that, the Galactic Republic era is like 35 to 40 years before Battle of Yavin.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And so Legend, did you?
Yeah, we're talking thousands of years before the first Death Star was destroyed. So.
Before we get too far off topic,
yes.
Legend, did you want to throw in on Dark Healing?
Is that where we're on? I kind of
way off topic. Squirrel.
What character are we on? I feel like everything's been hit on, man. The revive is gonna be sick. I love that, especially if you're running like a double tank team, and the only thing you have killed so far is tanks. I mean, and then she just revives a freaking tank and commences healing and all that, and that's just gonna be a headache, man. Just gonna be an absolute headache, and I can't wait to be the one causing that headache there.
Dude, I think Kirill hit it on the head. Is earlier he said comparing it to like Admiral Akbar, to where Admiral Akbar is only calling in like Hermit Yoda or something like that. Like I could see to where that ability could be abused at some point, and I think that's a really good point to talk on. But
it screams combo. It screams combo. It really does.
Totes my goats. Yeah. But Kirill, go ahead. Put us back on track.
Brought to you by Coors Light. All right. So
said no one ever.
Yeah. So here's the next ability. The next special is actually another attack. This one, man, she's pretty offensive for a healer, don't you guys think? Anyway.
Description.
Yeah, right. So she deals physical damage to target enemy and grants all allies defense penetration up for 2 turns. This attack ignores protection. It has a cooldown of 4. Now, this is actually a new buff they're actually putting into the game. The one that's defense penetration. So we've never seen this on another character. Now, I am going to go out on a limb and say that this is going to be broken. I'm just calling it like a headshot right now. Imagine you do the defense penetration, and let's just say randomly the next character attacks is Han Solo with a double attack with no protection on your tank. Let's say your tank, he has no protection. You just one-shot a freaking tank with like a big crit.
Well,
it's absolutely disgusting.
The defense penetration up, I think, only allows characters to bypass a certain percentage of defense.
It's not a flat,
not full,
100%.
yeah, not full defense penetration. Yeah, it's not going to be like a full armor pen. It's going to be like a 25% or a 50% armor penetration.
You see this right here? This is my dream. You just crushed it.
But no,
this is why we
I
have
completely
a game
agree. I
changer on
completely
this
agree.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
like
thank
Mist
you.
is answering questions that you guys probably have. Like seriously, go ahead. Like Mist, care to elaborate or what's your thought?
So Arnold mentioned this in his video that defense penetration is probably a hint at a
Phase 2 in the...
Yeah, I think he said Phase 2 of the raid. So I, unfortunately, was not able to attend the event out in Capital Games headquarters out in Sacramento. But
and let's universally, before he continues on, let's go ahead and say shame. Shame.
I know. Oh, well, that's all right. I'm in Florida right now, so... So defense penetration, I think, is going to have a lot bigger effect on the raid. My only hope is that Visas Marr does not spend eternity as unfarmable, and I hope that she does follow the release cadence and becomes farmable within...
Correct me if I'm wrong, she's a marquee character, right?
She is marquee, but unless you want to shell out $200 to $300 or more, if you have really bad luck with pulls, you're not going to be able to use Visas Marr in any of the raids because she won't be 7 stars. So for those of us,
we're saying like in the 3-month window, because let's be honest, like CG retracted recently with Mother Talzin and Zombie and Spirit and Wicket, and they kind of retracted and said, hey, we're going to release them in different areas. So I think they're trying to...
I think what they were trying to do is get back to, yes, we've released these characters who don't follow our standardized release cadence that we set forth, and we're sorry about that. I think that was kind of like a makeshift wannabe apology, and kind of saying, well, we want to try and stick to this release cadence in the future, which is very good information, very good news for those of us who want to eventually have Visas Marr on our roster, along with Scion. That's really good news. I have never wailed out on a character before, and as tempting as Scion and Visas Marr are, I will continue to be free to play. I won't be even buying the $10 pack for either of these characters, because I think that if you're going to spend $10 on a character and not get another star out of it, it's kind of lame, so I choose not to spend that $10. But that's a personal decision, my own personal decision. However, I do know that there are a lot of players out there who, if they do spend on money on this game, will be getting Scion and Visas Marr, and, well, Scion or Visas Marr. Really, pretty much depending on how their roster is already shaped. So if they already have a lot of Sith, obviously Scion is going to be the one that they want to go and get. I mean, if you've got a Gear 12 EP and a Gear 12 Vader and a Gear 12 Sith Trooper, then yeah, you're going to go out and you're going to wail out on Scion. But if you've got the typical Titan squad of CLS, General Kenobi, R2, Thrawn, and throw in whatever other rebel you want to, whether it be Han Solo or someone else, you're probably going to go out and get Visas Mar, because Visas Mar will fit into that squad incredibly well. Especially, like you said, if you toss General Kenobi in there with a Zeta on his taunt, he gonna die. You know, somebody's gonna dispel that taunt. It's gonna come right back, and then you're just gonna have no choice but to kill old Ben. Visas Mar's gonna pull her heel out, and she'll be full health, and she's gonna revive old Ben, and it's just gonna be rinse, wash, repeat. And it's gonna be this nightmare squad where it's gonna be like, I can't go anymore.
Absolutely.
So, yeah,
no.
So
you hit it on the head. I think that you pretty much encapsulated it. Legend, you got anything to add on that?
I got nothing, man. By the time you guys are getting to me,
I'm going to ask you first next time.
I was going to say, by the time you get to me, everything's over, man.
I'll sit
Austin,
back.
Do you got anything?
Unique.
Oh, no, you're fine. Shut up. We're here to chat and be buddies. It's not, you're not stealing anybody's thunder. Thunder buddies. All right, Faustin, you got anything to add, bro?
No, I mean, I actually learned a lot just now, so I'm good with that. Thank you.
Thank you.
But we haven't covered her unique yet, have we? I'm sorry.
No.
No,
Okay,
I'm not sure. I have no idea at this point.
No, I'm still pissed off that my dream got crushed, but it's fine.
Hey, man. Not crushed.
All right, brother.
We just reshaped it.
Yeah. So,
Beautiful.
and here's what we've been alluding to this whole time. This is what's making her a Sith killer. The antithesis to Sith. Antithesis to Sith. Wow, I did that really well. So her unique is Return to the Light. It says, and go ahead. It has a Zeta, unfortunately, but it says while Visas Mar has no debuff, she has a 100% counter chance and a 60% chance to assist when another ally attacks Sith enemies. It's limited to once per turn, so I'm assuming that's in there for like if you're double attacking with Ezra or Leia or Han, it's not going to do double assisting.
Right.
So, so this
Dream
is obviously
further crushed.
Yeah, right. It's like, God, why can't we just break this thing open, right? But yeah, this is what we've been alluding to this whole time is with that assist, and obviously there is the niche, there is the caveat that you have to be fighting against a Sith team. Well, with all the release of all these new Sith, that's kind of not out of the wheelhouse. You're going to be fighting Sith in your shard. I mean, that's just going to be a given. So, and then plus, obviously, if you're using her in the Sith raid, right? So, I mean, she's going to be able to really maximize this assistability. And like I said, that dark healing, it's going to be up every 2, every 3 turns. I mean, that's just broken. That's really, really good. I mean, let's just throw it out there, right? Like, let's do the math on it. If you're attacking with your team, she could get 4 assists off of like your team's turn meter, right? So you're getting 4 assists off of her, and then you attack with her, and that's 5. The cooldown is only 6. This thing is up almost every 2 turns, dude. This thing's up every 2 turns.
All right, so let's go ahead and throw that around real quick.
Okay, I got a little bit excited. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, Legend. What's up, man?
Hold on, I'm trying to get back to Reed. I feel like he spoke too much there and kind of confused me a little bit.
He's proving he's a real redneck, ladies and gentlemen.
So yeah. I mean, I know my shard
No. Go ahead. You need to read up on it? Go ahead, man.
No, I'll read while I talk.
Okay.
So my shard is littered with the Zeta Palp teams. I think earlier today when I was talking to some guys,
and I don't mean to interrupt you, Legend, but can you give our viewers a frame of reference of where you sit, how long have you been playing the game? Because nobody's met you until this point.
It's because I'm a legend. They don't need to meet me. Let's see. I'm October of 16 shard, I think.
Damn,
something like that.
Developed. Yeah.
So yeah, I have a pretty tough shard. I think in the top 25, all the guys that are in our shard chat are 2.25 up to 3.5 mil GP type players. So it's a pretty developed shard. But earlier, I was sitting in first place with a tied team, the JTR team, Jedi Training Ray. So I need to be that clear. And out of the top 15 of my shard, I was the only non-Zeta Palpatine team sitting in the top 15. So
nice.
It's and that's just going to grow. And I mean, Palpatine, everybody and their mom's going to have Palpatine. And
I'm sorry, I just wanted to give a frame of reference. That way, when you're talking about Emperor Palpatine, people know where you're coming from. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead, man.
Oh, you're good. You didn't mean to interrupt, but you did again.
All right. Well, you.
It's really funny because you're interrupting to say sorry for interrupting.
Exactly.
Hey,
all good.
No, but I think it's really cool that Legend said that, because we were earlier talking and we had thought the conversation was going that it was only going to be mid-game that was going to have to deal with the Sith flood, right? All your free-to-play players were going to be the Emperor Palpatine. But, dude, he's from 2016, and he's got freaking Zeta Palps running around everywhere. That is really interesting to hear, dude. Seriously.
See, it's also opened up the door for established shards like mine, where you have the guys that have been hardcore since the beginning. It opens the door for guys that have taken months at a time off from the game, or they've been totally free to play and kind of been on the outside looking into the top 50 and things like that. They throw one Zeta on Palpatine and gear up a couple dudes, and they're fighting for top spots.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like the garbage Night Sister Cheese team that everybody did. It made free to play players able to just knock off any whale on the shard. Just throw one Zeta and you're good to go. But
yeah, that's interesting.
But now those teams are getting a lot more well developed. And they're getting tougher and tougher to beat. I know I had to switch off my Titan team because I just couldn't compete with some of the Palpatine teams that were out there. So
yeah.
And now they're making Sith even stronger. So
right. Dark February.
So to have a direct Sith counter is pretty sweet.
Fair enough. Fosden, you got anything else on that?
I do, but I kind of want to hear more from Mist, because he actually may answer some of my questions that I have.
And if he doesn't, we'll come back to you, okay?
Fantastic.
All right, Mist, take it, man.
So the Palpatine bit isn't limited to newer shards or any of that. I started when the game went global, and I have Palpatines all over my shard too. So
can you give us a breakdown, Mist? Can you look at your top 50 and tell me a percentage, kind of like a rough estimate?
I don't know about a percentage, but I can tell you real quick. Let me go
through
my leaderboard real quick.
Well, it didn't have to be 38.7.
Right.
So right now I have Emperor Palpatine. I'm going from first to, I'll go to my top 20. So Emperor Palpatine, Jedi Training Ray, Jedi Training Ray, Jedi Training Ray, Palpatine, JTR, Talzin, Palpatine, JTR, Palpatine, Rex, Palpatine, Talzin, Palpatine, CLS, Palpatine, JTR, Talzin, Palpatine, Rex, Palpatine, JTR, Palpatine, Akbar, Palpatine, JTR, CLS. So essentially, it's just a mix of Palpatine, JTR,
over
a few
50%.
Rex. There's a Thrawn tossed in there. Let's see if I can keep scrolling here.
Legend, is that about accurate with you two?
Yeah, I'd say that it's probably about.
Mine's
I'd say it's
further
probably
than
about
that.
75%.
Let's see.
60 to 75%. And then if you go past 100, past 50 to 100, I'm sure that there's most of those are probably started running Emperor Palpatine as well.
Hi,
So
Zeus.
crazy. Yeah.
So my top 20 is 16 Palpatine teams, 3 JTRs, and 1 Talzin team.
Oh my god! Wow, that is insane numbers. And I didn't mean to throw it off track again, as Mist is so fond of reminding us, Squirrel. But Mist, go ahead and throw in on the topic. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah. So on her unique, there is the caveat. So if you do throw the Zeta on Visas, expecting her to just go nuts with her counters, 1 debuff will spoil it entirely.
That's true.
So
yeah.
And
you will want to have other way. Say again.
I don't mean to interrupt. I'm not going to preface that anymore. But no, in all seriousness, where does her Zeta start, and can you share that information as opposed to?
So the Zeta
7?
gives her the 100% counter chance.
So we don't really care.
Well, you do, because the counter chance is a huge part of getting her Dark Healing, which has an 8-turn cooldown, off cooldown faster. Because every time she counters, she's using her basic ability, which will cleanse debuffs on another random debuffed ally. Because in order to counter, she has to already be debuff, negative status effect free. I mean, she has to be STD free in order to counter. So when she does counter, she's going to clear it. Say again?
I said, we're classy here. Pinky's up, STD free.
Yes. So as long as she doesn't have any negative status effects, then she will counter. If she counters, when she counters, she is going to be cleansing debuffs on her allies, which will obviously help if you're facing Scion, because no pain, no gain. Pun intended. Then if you're facing a Sith team, every time she counters, assuming that she doesn't get debuffed on the attack that she is countering, because let's face it, a lot of Sith inflict negative status effects, she'll also be healing herself and another ally. So there's a lot gained from her counter chance. However, if you aren't running, say, Rex, who is pretty much the anti-meta, like literally you can form a squad around Rex to counter every meta that has been the meta for the last, year, maybe?
Yeah, maybe even longer than that.
Yeah, Rex has been, in my opinion, one of the single-handedly most valuable leaders in arenas forever. Like, if you're free to play and you don't have Rex,
you're doing it wrong.
You're doing it wrong. You gotta go farm yourself a Rex. Like, go farm Rex. Like, one piece of advice: go farm Rex, because tenacity up kills so much. Like, you put tenacity up on Visas Mar, and she's going to be countering every single time because she's not going to get debuffed.
Are we drunk enough for my idea yet, Chris?
So, yeah. Let's hear it.
Go nuts.
Calling it like a headshot right now. Grandmaster Yoda is going to be part of the meta.
Oh, I could see that.
I was actually just thinking
Rex,
that.
Grandmaster Yoda, Old Ben, Commander Luke Skywalker with Visas Mar.
Yep. Well, the only problem is, hold on, no. You wouldn't want to use either one of them because they're not Jedi. He only gives 30% tenacity if they're Jedi. But the big thing is when he resists, and guess what he's going to be resisting? Palpatine, Darth Vader, Darth Sion. If they resist any of those, 30% turn meter.
Wait a minute, are you talking about Hermit Yoda or
no.
Grandmaster
Yoda? The character.
Are you talking about his leader? You talking about his leader ability?
Uh-huh.
if tenacity wasn't broken, and I'm not talking about tenacity up, I'm talking about tenacity, the stat. Tenacity, if tenacity wasn't broken, because I've tested tenacity out, I put 97% tenacity before anything else on General Kenobi, and I only resisted maybe 5% of all the negative status effects tossed at him. It was pathetic.
Sounds like 97%. 5%, 97. Same.
Well, I mean, because you are fighting their potency. So you have to fight their potency.
But when you think about the average potency of a character in arenas is only usually around 40 to 80% tops.
80%.
97%.
Like, what, Poe? Like, I mean, like that's realistic. Like, I don't think you're going to see 80% unless somebody's really intending to do it. Like, okay, maybe in the new meta where Vader and Palpatine are a thing, yeah, I can see potency being.
My Vader, I still only have 38% potency on him.
Right.
Palpatine has 49% potency. Granted, I'm not running Emperor Palpatine in Arena. I'm running the Rex, Wampa, Talzin, General Kenobi. Sure.
Let's do a full circle. Let's do a full circle here. What is he showing me? I swear
potency.
73%
on Palpatine there.
Yeah. There you go, brother. All right.
Is that
which, when you factor in his leader ability, giving him a bonus 35% potency, it knocks you up to like 105% potency. But I've seen my Palpatine get resisted by a character that didn't have tenacity up that had garbage tenacity. So,
but correct me if I'm wrong. No matter what, it doesn't matter what potency tenacity check is. No matter what, there's a 15% base to where you can resist it, right?
Which is why even with tenacity down, a character can resist.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So, and albeit this is a very math-intensive conversation, I want to throw it over to Fontes. I mean, you sounded like you might have had some questions that may have been unanswered, or where are you sitting at?
Yeah, well, I guess the first thing I want to say is that maybe I've been doing this wrong because a lot of my characters have like 80% tenacity, or I'm sorry, potency. But so thank you for mentioning that about the Zeta, about where it starts and where it ends. So if the base ability is really just about assisting, what is counted as an attack for that assist? What if she's with other people in her team that also counter? Will that counter towards a Sith opponent trigger her assist?
Once per turn.
Per her turn or per ally turn?
Ally turn.
Per ally turn.
Okay.
So on their attack.
So they added that, they like to add that caveat onto abilities because of Nutini, the broken Newt Gunray with Dacha, and I believe it was what was the other goofy Jawa's name? I don't know, but the two Jawas and Newt Gunray, whenever an ally, whenever somebody, a stealthed ally, critical strikes, they gain 50% turn meter. They had to add the caveat once per turn on the turn meter gain because they would double tap, crit twice, and get 100% turn meter. And so they had they add this limit once per turn to avoid people saying, "Well, this didn't counter that time," or assist. Basically it's saying she will counter or assist once per turn.
Okay. The other thing I wanted to mention was, with all this Sith talk, and I know not a lot of teams run this. I do, because I have a soft spot for Dooku, and I've always been a Sith player. I actually started at launch, but like I said before, I'm in recovery, and I had to take a brief 6-month hiatus for rehab. So when I came back and didn't want to start over, it was a tough climb back up to where I'm at right now. But I kind of see Dooku as someone that will combat Visas pretty well, and the only thing she has going against him right now is that she doesn't have a Jedi tag.
Right.
So he's not going to be landing those ability blocks and the stuns. so often. But I see anything that can prevent her from taking turns is going to directly affect the rest of the team if she's taking on this support role like that for people.
Which is where Nihilus is very helpful. Because Darth Nihilus, if you have his Zeta unique, at the start of Visas Mar's turn, she's going to gain health down. So that's going to keep her from countering. It's going to keep her from assisting. Then you also have Darth Nihilus using his cooldown increasing ability.
Drain Force, yeah.
Yes, Drain Force. I'm terrible at remembering the names of abilities. But yes,
you got the animations down though.
Yes, the animation's down, yes. But yeah, I mean, I ran Dooku lead in my arena for a while, and I've got his Zeta because, I mean, he's freaking Count Dooku. I mean, even if I don't run him anywhere, I've got him Gear 11 and Zeta. So, I mean, I would love to see Count Dooku become part of the meta again.
Do any of us really want that, though? Do we want, like, okay, the evasion meta happened before.
Oh no! I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about a Dooku lead. I don't want a Dooku lead back. No. I'm talking about Dooku being a superstar support character sitting on the back row of your squad, counterattacking everybody and making their lives miserable with his stuns and ability blocks.
So I'm actually also a free-to-play player, and I've always been very pro-Sith. You know, I've tried to just keep them relevant and failed for the most part, but I've always kind of run Dooku with that. And you know, my first 2 Zetas ever were both on Nihilus, which in hindsight was a bit of a mistake and put me back a ways. But
I would only say that his leader ability might have been a mistake.
I agree. Yeah, like I'm
because his
thinking
unique
about doing his unique right now. Like I'm weighing the options.
I've never regretted unique. Zeta having Nihilus unique Zeta. I ran Threxus for a long. I ran Threxus for a very long time. Which, if you're not familiar with Threxus, it's a Rex, Thrawn, Nihilus. R2 General Kenobi, where you can take R2 and you can throw pretty much any support character. You can throw Han Solo in there. You can throw a healer. You can throw a number of different characters in there. But the main core of that squad is Thrawn, Rex, and Nihilus, where Rex is the leader.
Dooku for me was a big part of my Nihilus team because of just how often he was taking turns. He was always getting the health steal, and that was why I had taken that leader Zeta. And you know, like you said, you never regretted the unique Zeta because it you know, like it was mentioned before, Sith are all about debuffs and throwing that up there, which is the only way I really see that being a strict thing against Visas as far as Dooku under a Nihilus lead. For me, that's what comes to mind about keeping her suppressed. But that's everything I was talking about.
I mean, I know we want to get on to other topics, but you guys keep on saying that.
Never.
It only takes one attack, and she clears that debuff. So you get. I think you're underestimating that.
Right.
It only takes one attack, and it clears it.
But until she attacks, she can't counterattack or assist. That's what you're doing. With a Nihilus unique, you're stripping her ability. You're basically rendering her unique.
I apologize. That's why you're saying it. Thank you for clearing that.
And she only clears those negative status effects if she uses her basic. If she uses one of her special abilities, she's not clearing that negative status effect. So
got it. Yeah.
It's kind of you can, at the start of her turn, if you want to cleanse her negative status effect to allow her to counterattack, you're not going to heal your squad, revive somebody, or whatever her other special ability is, to strip, or go straight at a person's health pool, and give defense pen up. So it's kind of a Nihilus. She is a Sith counter, but she also can be countered by Sith. So it's a very symbiotic relationship that she has with Sith.
We're going to have to see through a lot of rounds and kind of see who ends up on top. It is my opinion.
I have one good battle in a video that I'm currently editing that I will be doing the voiceover after this video, or after this discussion. I'll be doing the voiceover on the video, basically talking about Scion and Visas Mar, and I'll be talking about that. And one of the gameplay videos, one of the arena matches that the other Game Changers were able to capture for me at the event actually is a good one with Commander Luke running Visas Mar underneath a Commander Luke Skywalker, and you can really see how well she works against Sith. It's pretty good. Pretty good.
Great. And so that if you're a part of the Mad Dad Nation, I'm giving you guys a tag now, I guess. But if you're here and you're a subscriber and you're watching this content, make sure that you're subscribing to Mist Passiert. I'm gonna probably put something down below there. That is going to indicate, because every single time that I heard him pronounce his own name, I was like, is it Miss? I'm like, why is it a guy talking?
Yeah, I'm not very good at enunciating the T, Mist.
But we're going to go ahead and we're going to put a link down in the description, so that way you guys can definitely make sure if you are subscribing to our content, you need to be subscribing to his content as well. So I think we spent a really long time on the potatoes. We need to talk about the meat, boys. Let's talk about Dark Scion.